Hello everybody, certainly famed for my technology. Okay, so before we get to this point, obviously we've done in terms of goal setting, in terms of objectives, we know exactly what we're trying to achieve and what time frame, and the benefits and why it's extremely important to us. So now we arrive at this point. In terms of the nutrition side of things, that's what we're going to go into. On this page here, when I've previously analysed people's nutrition, these have been my top answers, if you like. So my top answers to the question of what's been the most popular thing people are having for breakfast. And obviously these are people that have looked at sort of eating healthier and healthier nutrition and have sort of looked to make changes. And these are the sort of things that they've then been consuming in the belief that this will take them to where they want to go in terms of achieving their objectives. So in theory, people have kind of come to this place knowing that all the obvious stuff they're going to have to either decrease to a big extent in terms of the takeaways and the confection, all the stuff that tastes nice effectively, and alcohol and other such sugary drinks, if you like. So this is where most people find themselves when they've kind of got that impetus to make changes and to eat what they perceive to be healthy and leading along the lines of weight loss, if you like, or fat loss. So top answer to the question of breakfast, traditionally, here in England, here in the UK, cereal, glass of juice was the top answer. And if you can see it, what I put on here is grams of carbs, protein and fat and percentages. Mid-morning, most popular answer was banana. Lunch, a filled roll or sandwich, in this case a ham salad sandwich. Again, the grams of carbs, protein and fat and the percentages, looking at how balanced the food is that they're consuming. Afternoon snack, most people are too busy, and so more often than not it was the one that was foregone and the one that most people didn't have. Dinner, so these were sort of the top three reoccurring, if you like. It's not some kind of strange buffet going on. So a kind of chicken roast meal with potatoes and vegetables was one answer. Good old spaghetti bolognese was another one. And jacket potato and baked beans was another very sort of, obviously, very fast, easy, quick to prepare option. So again, you've got the percentages, the numbers. So hopefully, I mean, you can kind of, if you can see the numbers, you can see there's a pattern developing. If I look for the percentages, the cereal, glass of juice, 86% carbohydrate, the mid-morning snack, the banana, 92% carbohydrate, the ham salad sandwich, 64 grams, 50% carbohydrate, the chicken roast meal, 56 grams at 54% carbohydrate, spaghetti bolognese, 51% carbohydrate, the jacket potato, 84% carbohydrate. So in all of these meals, this is very much, as you can see, designed around still the emphasis on low fat being the primary objective, and I guess the two go together, sort of lower calorie as well. So I'm sure you can see that the pattern that's developing, that we're consuming a very sort of carbohydrate heavy, or to go further, I mean, every carbohydrate on this planet, all of these turn into the same thing. Glycogen, to give it its scientific name, or energy, blood sugar, glucose, call it what you will. Every single carbohydrate on the planet is turned into fuel, or blood sugar, if you like. So in terms of that sheet being the typical, when we look a little bit deeper, so if you kind of, here we go with the pie chart, analysing, if you like, the daily plate. So the daily plate is that much, 70% of that day of the nutrients consumed carbohydrate, 90% protein, 11% fat, so obviously going very, very much in the focus of low fat. And here we have the blood sugar diagram, if you like. So the key with this is that the body can process this amount here. This, no problem, this goes into the body. Insulin is the hormone that's fired into to release the fuel from the food, and this quite happily goes into bloodstream and then into muscles ready for usage and into the liver. It's the surplus that's a problem. So with all of those meals, the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, there's a surplus of fuel. Insulin's job is to unlock the surplus, and anything that we can't process and use gets turned into body fat eventually. That's our fuel storage, if you like. That's our excess fuel storage. So you can see that our blood sugar profile goes up and down, and where you've got a big peak here where the blood sugar rises, you've also got a big trough. And this is, typically, if you like, this is 4 p.m. time where our blood sugars, there's no mid-afternoon, there's no nutrients going in then. So this is when our blood sugar's at its absolute lowest at this point here. So what do? We're kind of almost craving, getting hungry and craving sugar, or the body's almost telling us to get the blood sugar up quickly. So what we then tend to do is overeat at this point here and take on board more than we need. So obviously the pancreas, that's job is to secrete insulin to unlock all the fuel, is working very hard, and our blood sugar is going up and down and up and down. So you can see where diabetes wasn't a very common illness previously, and as you can see, regards to our eating patterns and the amount of energy that we consume on a daily basis, how the pattern that's ensued, if you like. And you can say, insulin's job is to unlock the fuel and to where it needs to go, and the surplus into body fat. So you can label insulin almost as a fat storing hormone. So the key here is that too much fuel is going into the body. And obviously it's a slow process. Fat creeps on as it creeps off. And this is this surplus in time means that good chance we're increasing our body fat. Okay. So over the page here. So here's a list of different foods, and the big key here is all the percentages. The percentages are much, much closer together. So we've got porridge, sunflower seeds, and this time the carbohydrate, 26 grams of carbs, that's only 46% total. Fresh fruit, natural yogurt for breakfast, and nuts and seeds, 30 grams of carbs, which is only 29% of the total. Scrambled egg, salmon, mushrooms, so 22 grams of carbs, which is only 41% of the total. For instance, snacks, nuts and dried fruit over here, 7 grams of carbs, only 17% of the total. Hummus and carrot dip, another snack, 11 grams of carbs, 44% of total calories. Dinners, a chicken Caesar salad, so 10 grams of carbs, on the low side, almost too low, 11% carbohydrate. Roast salmon flatbread, a very, very thin flatbread, 15 grams of carbs, only 19% total. Then we've got a vegetarian dish, Caribbean casserole, at 25 grams of carbs, and a beef stir fry at 31 grams of carbs. So you can see all the numbers there. If I go back to the beginning and kind of look at the numbers and the foods, if you like, were high energy, with a cereal and glass of juice, high energy. Banana, about 25 grams is sort of just about the amount the body can process at once, but still fairly high on the energy. Ham salad sandwich, it would have been the bread in the sandwich that would have equated for much of the 64 grams there. The roast meal here would probably be the portion of potatoes that would take this to 56 grams of carbohydrate. Spaghetti bolognese, 79 grams of carbohydrate. The spaghetti probably be the key there. And the jacket potato and baked beans, well, both of those, jacket potato and the baked beans, are very sort of energy rich, so that would have equated for the 70 grams of carbs there. So we know that the cereals, the juices, certainly bread, potato, pasta, rice, noodles, all of these are very concentrated sources of energy. Whilst of our sort of more balanced meals here, what we're saying is the body can process about 30 grams of carbs per meal. So all of these are well within the numbers, that being the key. And so And the key with these foods as well is that's key. If you're looking at paleo or clean eating, or I wouldn't call it low carb, moderate carb would be the key with the nutrition plan. But all of these foods are natural foods, foods that we've had for a very, very long time. And then that's the key. We consume too many processed foods. So the key here is that all of these foods are naturally found. The ingredient list of these foods is very, very low. And that's the key, meaning that they're going to be a lot more nutrient dense in terms of minerals and vitamins. And not only that, when we increase our protein and healthy fat, the kind of naturally occurring fats that are found in here in the sunflower seeds, and the natural get in the nuts and seeds, in the salmon and the egg here, in the hummus, to some degree in the roast salmon here. They're all natural fats. They're fats that, this is the key, that the body can process. If the body's processing nutrients, it's not storing them. That's the key. Plus, certainly with protein, because it's slower to absorb. It's not the body's preferred source of energy, so it absorbs much slower into the body. So as you'll see from the next page, the response is a bit different. In the ideal world, the ultimate plate or pie chart, if you like, of the macronutrients, carbs, protein and fat is 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. It's very hard to get every meal the exact number, but if we aim, if our plate roughly looks like that kind of division, then we're giving ourselves best chance. And for most people it is a case of just moderating the carbs and carbohydrates in terms of lower energy and slightly increasing the protein and the fat. So we get a completely different blood sugar profile here. So again, this is the amount of fuel, of blood sugar, of glycogen, glucose that we can process per meal, and by moderating the energy, we get more of a balance going on. That's the key. Low calorie diets don't work in the fact that if our amount of fuel that we get is incredibly low, we're sort of getting the body ready for a shortage, and the way the body copes with a shortage is to slow the metabolism, is to almost hold on to body fat in the wrong belief that a shortage is coming. We almost want the body into this abundance mindset where the body will process nutrients, will hold on to our lean tissue, and will maintain a fast metabolism, because that will help us in the long run of our quest to be leaner, to lose weight, to lose body fat. And in terms of losing body fat, if we're providing our body with some fuel but not quite enough, and we get the body into the notion that there's an ongoing supply of nutrients but not quite enough fuel, the body releases a different, less well-known hormone called glucagon. And glucagon's job is to go into the fat cells, body fat being the secondary fuel. So if we've got a moderation of our primary fuel or carbohydrate, then our body will turn to our secondary fuel or body fat, and then that will be used as fuel. And if that's, again, it creeps on, it creeps off, but if it's creeping off, if this is a daily ongoing profile, blood sugar profile, it basically means that we're getting leaner. That's the long and short of it. That's the only way we lose body fat and we lose weight healthily, which for me means that that's the focus, we're losing body fat. That's the key. And that's the only way in which that equation, or that process, if you like, happens. Okay, so what you'll also notice is, well, the balance. The balance is a big one. So, like I said, for most people, it's a case of moderating the higher energy carbs. As you saw on the lists, things like bread and pasta and rice, and especially the white varieties, and, even cereals, especially the sugary cereals, very sort of energy dense. You can decrease that a little bit and slow it down a little bit by going for the brown or the more sort of wholemeal varieties, but you can still take the grams of carbohydrate in a food, and it all turns into the same thing. It's all going to be turned into energy or blood sugar by the body, and will be turned into fuel. That being the key. So for